Anthony Davis's excuse for not even standing up when LeBron broke the record was obviously a lie. Why did he even say it? Guess he had to say something. It was such a bad look. Every other teammate's celebrating, but the best teammate who won a chip with LeBron is just sitting there. Then trade rumors come out immediately after. I'm not talking about AD for Kevin Durant. That's obviously not happening anymore. There is a new rumor that actually makes a lot of sense if LA wants to move on from AD. It would bring them a player potentially with a higher ceiling. Either way, something weird is happening with Anthony Davis. But before we get to the details, this is what KD warned us about. When he was on the Warriors, he said, so much hype comes from being around LeBron from other people. He has so many fanboys in the media, it's not even about basketball at certain points. So I get why anyone wouldn't want to be in that environment because it's toxic. It makes total sense that AD is worn out playing with LeBron. So many of his best teammates have felt that way. But first, did I get a haircut? Today's video is sponsored by Prize Picks, and I know it's the NBA All-Star break, so I have been getting into some other sports. And good news, it makes watching every sport a lot more fun. Prize Picks is like daily fantasy, except it's not you against other people, it's you against the projections available. So I'm going to drop my NBA picks for this week on my social media like Twitter, but I want to show you what I've been up to lately. So for example, we had a couple of tacos yesterday because it was Taco Tuesday. I got lucky on both of those, which was great. I lost just a random hockey one. Hockey. I secretly love watching and playing golf, and I barely won this, but either way, it made watching every single stroke of that round so much fun. But you can play Prize Picks in a lot of states like California and Florida and Texas, and if you're signing up for the first time, use the promo code AMHOOPS or click the link in the description. You get a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. Now back to my regular hair. Kyrie left a championship-winning team to get out of LeBron's shadow. Kevin Love said his darkest times were with LeBron. When Kyle Kuzma was traded, he said, "It's great to be in a situation where I can just be myself. It's great because I'm not looking over my shoulder every time I'm making a mistake." There is so much pressure playing with LeBron. Russell Westbrook was the scapegoat whenever things went wrong, but a lot of that fell on AD too.
I blame Anthony Davis. You ain't holding up your end of the bargain.
What has happened to Anthony Davis?
This is not about LeBron. This is not about Russ. This is about AD.
And why is that? Because when he's not hurt, he is one of the worst jump shooters in the league. After his 2020 season, respectable from three, he had his worst and now second worst season since 21 years old. And why is that? Because he has to change who he is to adapt to LeBron, just like all those other teammates. And now AD doesn't make the All-Star game? How do you think he feels about that? I mean, he did just deactivate his Instagram account, and I know NBA players can be dramatic like that, but not AD. He has never done that with his social media. But when Patrick Beverley was asked what went wrong in LA, it wasn't basketball, it was other you can't pinpoint. And I listened to that whole podcast with Pat Bev. He never specified what he meant, but it sounds exactly like what KD said. And KD actually has the clout to be able to say that part out loud in the media. LeBron has so much power, most players cannot call him out like that. I mean, a retired guy like Tyson Chandler, if you've got LeBron, you've got to make it all about LeBron. So yeah, AD might be a little worn out. And what was his excuse about not celebrating?
I was just wondering what you...
It's nothing. It's about the game. We losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder, a game we needed. And I was pissed off that we were losing.
Okay, that sounds good, but when you look back at the actual shot, it made it a 5-point game with the entire fourth quarter to play. People are acting like, oh, this was a 20-point blowout at the time. Oh, AD just mad about losing. No! A 5-point lead with an entire quarter to play is nothing in the NBA. A blowout, sure, but to not celebrate when your teammate breaks the biggest individual record, it all makes sense when you know what LeBron's past teammates have said. Oh, but it's not like AD has ever lied to the media before. Well, after dragging the Pelicans franchise through the mud demanding a trade, he wore a "That's all folks" shirt to his last game to troll his own fans.
Why did you choose that t-shirt?
I didn't choose it. I actually didn't choose it. It was hanging for me already when I put my clothes on, so.
Do you know who hung it?
No.
I wish we knew. That person is still out there somewhere on the run. No. When AD is hiding something, you can tell. But if the noise is true, maybe the Lakers would look to move on from AD. LeBron still can't hand the franchise off to him, even though he's 29 years old, because AD is so inconsistent. I mean, LeBron's plan was to ease back and play fewer minutes. He can't. Dude is even complaining behind the scenes about having to play big minutes in his 20th season. Of the star players LeBron has teamed up with since he left the Cavs the first time, Kyrie played the fewest seasons with him at 3. Then Kevin Love, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh at 4. So 4 seasons is the longest he has been with one superstar teammate. And after this year, AD will match that. And if you believe AD is so good he is worth a 5th season, then why not even D-Wade? That 1 year on the Cavs doesn't count. So the more important question is, who would they trade AD for? Well, a source has told Colin Cowherd to, quote, watch out for the Mavericks and Anthony Davis. And it actually makes a ton of sense for a player like Kyrie Irving in a sign and trade. AD's trade value actually isn't much better than Kyrie's if he doesn't stay healthy. If we get one more disappointing postseason, then LA could get back Kyrie plus like a Josh Green or another first-round pick. The reason this makes sense is Kyrie might want to be a Laker, and we know LeBron is a fan. When Kai was asked about his long-term future in Dallas, he refused to commit. And if he wants to get paid, his only option would be to go to one of these crappy teams with cap space or a sign and trade. Now, LA does have some cap space, but not enough for a max contract, which is what Kyrie wants. The only way to get his max in Los Angeles is through a sign and trade. And the only player that makes sense there is Anthony Davis. They're both flawed players for different reasons, but I like AD even more with Luka Doncic. He raises the Mavs defense, which is a big problem right now. AD is a front court player who doesn't demand the ball like Kyrie does. And as crazy as this sounds, there is a simple reason that this trade would happen. The Mavericks lost their last 3 games into the All-Star break. Now, I know Kyrie didn't play one of them, but what if they take a step back? Like, lose in the first round after going to the conference finals because of their defense. Maybe Dallas likes the fit of Luka and Anthony Davis better after that. And if LeBron is serious about playing with Kyrie, the only realistic way to get him is to trade AD, unless Kai will take less than a max contract. But if the Lakers miss the playoffs, forget about just first round. They could miss the playoffs. They're still in 13th place. The Lakers will absolutely make some sort of a panic trade. But this could actually be huge for the Mavericks. They traded Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and some picks for Kyrie. But they didn't just get Kyrie here. They got a star who they can then trade for another star, especially if Kyrie doesn't commit. The only other teams that make sense for AD are Chicago and the Washington Wizards. LA would get back Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal. Both of those players are on gigantic contracts that hurt their trade value. Both teams have done nothing after they signed their player to a max. They might like the idea of getting off years of LaVine or Bradley Beal for just one more season of AD plus a player option. He is expiring. The Bulls are especially a threat because it's AD's hometown and he has expressed interest in going there. But can you imagine how hated the Lakers would become if they got Kyrie Irving? So many fans love to hate the Lakers already, but they aren't the most hated by other players. That team is the Memphis Grizzlies. They recently took over most hated from the Phoenix Suns, but the way they did it was by being savages to the rest of the league. Check it out.